Welcome to the AFR Saints channel, where we provide you daily content on your favorite team, the New Orleans Saints. Do us a favor and hit that subscribe button. Be sure to leave your comments below and smash that like button. Who dat? The Saints keep spending money, man. It just goes to show you what a farce the cap is. We always say there's no such thing as cap hell. Because you can keep manipulating the cap, keep buying with credit, and the Saints keep doing it. And they keep ending up putting themselves in situations where they're trying to win now, and they mortgage their future for it. But onward they go. They've added a couple of more players here on Wednesday. One of them is their own. Malcolm Roach, defensive tackle, has re-signed with the New Orleans Saints. That's per Tom Pelissero of the NFL Network. It's a one-year deal. If you remember, Roach is a guy from Baton Rouge who went to the University of Texas, was undrafted in 2020, and joined the New Orleans Saints, made the team. And Roach is one of those guys that I think is a great example of surpassing expectations. When you make a team as an undrafted free agent, you've already done that. But remember, now look, I would love that every undrafted free agent would be like what Shy Tuttle was at that position, right? But to make the team and then to contribute is pretty big. And remember, as a rookie, Malcolm Roach played in 9 games. That was in 2020 during the COVID year. But last year 2021 was really more significant because he played in 7 games. He started twice. And I bring that up because remember, that was the year where David Onyemata served his suspension. They had traded Malcolm Brown. You lost Sheldon Rankins in free agency. So you had massive turnover at defensive tackle. And so Roach was a guy who filled that gap a little bit. And then this past year, his 3rd year in the league, he played the most of his career. He played 13 games, started 3 times, and has become a solid rotational contributor on your defensive front. So in a year where you lost Onyemata, you lost Shy Tuttle, at least you're able to keep Malcolm Roach. And so when you look at the numbers there, you bring in Nathan Shepard, you bring in Colin Saunders, you had Prince Emili on the practice squad already, and now you re-sign Malcolm Roach. You're not done. We still have to see what happens with Kentavious Street, who's a free agent they could very well bring back. And I am assuming, as are many of you, that the Saints are going to draft an interior defensive lineman very high in this draft at some point. So congrats to Malcolm Roach. He's sticking around on another 1-year deal with the New Orleans Saints. He'll be able to contribute. I'm not going to say of greater importance, but something that's going to garner more headlines than that is anytime you sign a former first-round draft pick. And the Saints did that on Wednesday as well. ESPN's Jeremy Fowler had it first. The Saints are signing veteran safety Johnathan Abram. That name probably sounds familiar. He finished his college career at Mississippi State. He was all SEC. He led Mississippi State in tackles for a couple of seasons and was a first-round draft pick of the then Oakland Raiders. A little bit of his backstory, because I kind of like this signing. Abram signed with Georgia in 2015. Okay, so right off the bat, if you have an offer from Georgia and you sign at Georgia, you're a good player. So he signed at Georgia. After 1 year, left and went JUCO. In 2017, he was back in the SEC at Mississippi State, where he started in 2017, 2018. In 2018, he was first-team All-SEC. He got some All-America recognition as well. He led Mississippi State in tackles. He was a really good defensive back. Played both corner and safety during times in college, but was drafted by the Raiders ultimately as a safety. Now, here's the little caveat. Johnathan Abram, his reputation in the NFL is that he is very poor in pass coverage. He's a very good box defender and a run stuffer, but he is bad in coverage. Pro Football Focus graded him out at 47.1 last year as in pass coverage. He is bad. That's not a strength of his. But in high school, he was a linebacker. So this is a guy who, 6 feet tall, over 200 pounds, was a high school linebacker, see ball, hit ball, run sideline to sideline, gets into the SEC. They convert him to a safety, which is common. because you got a guy that's athletic, can run like that. You could play him at safety, or you can bulk him up to 240 and keep him at linebacker. Well, they moved him to safety. Play him in the box, let him go run around, use his athleticism. And he was good enough to be all SEC, lead the team in tackles, and become a first-round draft pick. The problem Abram ran into were injuries. Played just one game his rookie season, went on IR with a shoulder injury. Came back in 2020, played in 13 games. 21, played in 14 games, had more shoulder issues then. And then this past year, he played in 15 games, but for 3 different teams. He started the season with the Raiders, was let go, was picked up by the Packers, played for 2 games with the Packers, was let go again, then was picked up by the Seahawks, and he finished out the season there. Now he's a free agent, and he's signing with the New Orleans Saints. So if you're the Saints, you look at this and you realize this is still a young player. This is only his 5th year. He's entering his 5th year in the league. He didn't have his 5th-year option picked up by the team that drafted him. But he's only a 5th-year player in the NFL. So still a young guy, still physically gifted enough to have been a first-round draft pick. Injuries have set him back a little bit, but he is more known as a box safety and a guy that can defend the run, which what were the Saints terrible at this past year? Run defense. They were 24th in the NFL in run defense. I'm not telling you that Johnathan Abram stepping in and is going to be a starter for the New Orleans Saints. I'm not even telling you he's going to make the team, because all of a sudden that safety room has gotten pretty crowded. Let me remind you, Tyrann Mathieu back and Marcus May is back. Hopefully both are healthy. And Tyrann was your leading tackler a year ago at that safety position. I'm not telling you Johnathan Abram's coming in to take Tyrann Mathieu's job, certainly when he's not able to cover the way that Tyrann is. But after that, look at the rest of your safeties. You re-signed J.T. Gray, who's a backup safety for you, but is primarily a special teamer. He's a Pro Bowl special teamer. You brought in Ugo Amadi this offseason. We talked earlier this week about signing Lonnie Williams, former second-round pick who played at Kentucky, who's been in the league. You got Smoke Monday. Remember Smoke Monday from Auburn, who was going to make the team a year ago, signed as an undrafted free agent, injured himself, and missed the season. But he's still there, and he'll be in camp trying to make the roster. And now you add Johnathan Abram. So you're talking about 5, outside of J.T. Gray. If you include J.T. Gray, it's 5 safeties trying to win backup roles behind Tyrann Mathieu, Marcus May. And J.T. Gray is going to win one of them. So you may only have a spot, maybe 2, depending on skill set, availability, all that stuff. And you got a pretty crowded room of dudes who are accomplished. Like we talked about, man. I mean, Smoke Monday, there was a lot of expectation a year ago. Lonnie Williams, former second-round pick. Johnathan Abram, former first-round pick. You got dudes that have ability. It's just a matter of can they stay healthy. And I look back to what the Saints did a year ago when they brought in Justin Evans. And Evans was a guy who was a second-round pick of Tampa, was an effective player, got injured, missed basically 3 years, was out of football for 3 years. And the Saints took a flyer on him. And he was healthy. He stayed healthy, made the team, and played for the team last year, both defense and special teams. Maybe they do that again this year with Lonnie Williams or Johnathan Abram. So keep an eye on those guys, man. Anytime that you have someone with that ability, like we saw it with Kevin White, the wide receiver, right? Former top 10 overall pick in the draft who keeps getting opportunities because the ability, the physical ability is so tantalizing. And you just wonder if you could ever maximize that ability and the light switch goes off. You've got a bargain. So maybe the Saints have done the same here with Johnathan Abram. So they've added another safety. Been busy spending in free agents. Johnathan Abram and Malcolm Roach both signing with the New Orleans Saints. The Saints have spent the 3rd most money in free agency. A team that entered this offseason $55 million over the cap has not only cleared that cap space, but has now spent the 3rd most amount in free agency. God bless Kai Harley. Hey, thanks so much for watching. Please leave your comments. I love to interact. And be sure to hit the red subscribe button below.